Welcome to episode 54 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. Today we are talking about change. Change is hard, but there are few things you can work on yourself to make change possible. Want to join me in my podcast? Go on risefitnessnutrition.com/podcast and send me a message. Let's talk about it. Change is indeed a difficult matter. And it's normal because our brain is programmed to be resistant to change. So anytime we have to face something new, we will have internally some pushback, some resistance, something that tells us, okay, maybe not now, next time, tomorrow, next week, when you'll get there, when you'll finish this first, so on and so forth. And most of the time, these are absolutely valid reasons. Legit ideas, legit possibilities that will stop us from reaching whatever we want to do in terms of change. But also, at times, these reasons might not be useful or might be part of overthinking or, unfortunately, might be excuses because, as I said, since our brain is resistant to change, anything that will destroy our regular routine or things as are now are scary in a way, even if it is unconsciously scary. So we can find an infinite list of legitimate reasons to stop us from changing something. And I want to give you a very simple example. If you know me, or if you have seen me, you know that I'm bald. Surprise, surprise. But, and here is the thing, it took me a long time to accept that I could shave my head, that I could bid farewell to what was left of my wild hair. And every time I was suggested that maybe I could shave, or I was thinking that maybe I could do something to, take care of that, I always found a valid reason not to do so. Because it's not too bad. It doesn't look that bad. Nobody will notice. If I'm careful where I put my hair, nobody will see that I'm balding. I'm sorry, but that was BS because it was clear. So one day, I took the bull by the horn, as we say in my own country, and I shaved. And that was it. It was a very aggressive approach, if you want to say, but that was the only right way to do it. And, I found out that actually it's not that bad. And I gotta say that I feel much better now than, I don't know, it sounds weird, compared to when I had hair. Now, let's forget about this. But the point is that it took me a lot of work internally to reach the point where I was like, okay, I'll do it. Now, you might be in a similar situation. I hope you're not balding, whoever you are, but you might be in a similar situation where you feel like it might be time to change something in your life, whatever it is. But specifically for my podcast, let's imagine you want to change something related to your physique, to your performance, to your body. So say, for example, you want to lose some body fat or you want to increase your performance in a specific type of exercise or sport, but you are resisting to that for whatever the reasons. And mind you, I am far from saying that the reasons are invalid or are excuses or are BS. But the point here is that there's always a margin of change that can work for you. Nobody tells you, if you want to lose fat, that from tomorrow you have to do everything. You have to focus on your nutrition, go to sleep early, work out, walk, and everything else. But, as I said, there's a margin of those things that you can start applying in your daily life. And to do so, I would like you to ask yourself two honest questions. What is the least complicated thing you might change starting from tomorrow? Because the path of non-resistance is the path of success. If you find something, even if it is a small thing that you can change every day, and you apply that consistently because that for you is semi-effortless, then that will spark change. So once again, what do you think could be for you the least complicated thing to change regarding your habits and your routine if you want to lose fat? And again, it could be anything. Let me give you a few examples. It could be walk 10 minutes more every day instead of taking a train to go home. Or park your car a little further away and walk a little longer. Or it could be walk around your neighborhood 10 minutes more per day. Or it could be another example, say, instead of having 2 donuts for breakfast, only have 1 or have 1.5. Little things, but seriously, super little things, because the little things are the ones that will not affect your daily life in an aggressive way and in a stressful way, but they will affect your health positively in the long term. And when you are okay with whatever little habit that you chose to change consistently for a few weeks, then you can add something else. And then you take it from there. Bit by bit, you can increase the quality of your choices and therefore move towards your goal more sustainably. And that's one question. But if you're not there yet, and believe me, it's perfectly fine, it takes time to be there. And we all have a different path, and we all have a different way to understand our situation and to get where we want to. So if you're not there yet, ask yourself another very honest question. What would happen if you did make the change despite your reservations or despite your doubts? So that you can picture yourself closer to your goal, or you can picture yourself having reached the goal that you had in mind. Now, how would that make you feel? How would you feel looking back at your travels, looking back at the journey you had to take you there? Now, we're talking about the future, right? Because we want to imagine that you are there already. Now, imagine your goal now and think about being in a position where you reach that. How do you feel? How does it make you feel? And this is a very powerful sensation. It's a very powerful image. That is a very strong spark that can drive the change. So having this in mind, then you can go back to the first question. What is the smallest thing I can change tomorrow to go towards my goal? And I very much understand that there's a lot. There could be a lot. You might have a lot on your plate. And once again, I'm not telling you to do everything tomorrow, to go on a straight calorie deficit and to do food prep and to work out and to do everything and to tell everybody that you're doing it to keep your consistency high. But ultimately, this will be a small thing that you do with yourself and yourself only. You don't have to tell anybody if that makes you uncomfortable. But it's important that you kind of understand that this is for you and you only. Even if you don't advertise it, if you get success, that will make you ultimately feel better. And that's all that matters, I think. There's a lot of noise on social media, on TV shows, on magazines, on everywhere. There's a lot of noise on forcing people to change. Look at my progression. Look at my change. Look at my transformation. Fair enough. For some people, that's amazing. For some others, it's not, because changing is hard. No questions asked. But, as I said a few times already, there's always a margin. There's always a part of that you can change to make your life better and to make your choices in terms of health better. And that goes for everybody. That goes for people that are like super high performance, because when you have very high performance, you can easily end up in the spectrum of obsession, and obsession is also unhealthy. So you see, there's a balance. But you might wonder, and the answer is yes, I do this for myself as well. Because for my case specifically, for example, when it comes to my workouts and understanding my own limitations, I have issues because I always feel that I can do a little more. If today I did this much, I can do a little more because last time I did already that much. But this type of idea can lead to very terrible outcomes. And that, in my case, led to multiple injuries throughout the course of my sport career, if you want to call it career, or to my sports, my activities, my hobbies. I had a lot of setbacks because I was not able to understand that I had a limit. And in my case, the question I should have asked myself, how would I feel if today I do this much more? How would I feel tomorrow? Would it make any difference? Would I feel better? If I would be considerably feeling better, then maybe I can do a little more. But if that wouldn't change much, then it wouldn't make no sense. And in my case as well, it takes time for me to process and understand this. And I'm still working on it, and I still struggle with it. And the point is that it's a battle that all of us have. And there's no perfection. So forget about perfection. When you see profiles on Instagram or TikTok or any other website or social media that you use, when you see profiles of people that look quote unquote perfect, always remember that what they show you is a fraction of what their life and the struggles are. And most of the time, even the fraction that they show you, it's a fraction that's made on purpose to appeal. So that's probably not even true. My point for today's podcast is simple. Perfection is silly to aim for, but progress is the right thing to try to strive to get. And to get progress, you need to ask yourself two simple questions. What are the obstacles, or what are the things that you can change daily, even the small little things, to move towards your goal? And the second question, but that depends on you if you want to ask yourself this first, the other question is, how would I feel once I reach my goal? For example, how would I feel when I decrease my body fat from this much to this much? How would that make me feel? Understanding those will help you structure your journey. And also, never forget, you don't have to do this alone. There are plenty of very valuable coaches that you can rely on and that you can contact and work with. That's always an option. But ultimately, understanding your goal, it's something that you might want to start do yourself first. And then once you see the struggles, once you see the challenges, then you can always ask for support. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you very much for listening all the way here. Remember, struggle is common to everybody. It doesn't matter how perfect or imperfect they look. We all struggle the same. If you like this podcast, please share it with your family and friends and get in touch with me on Instagram @thecarl.fit. Happy rest of the week.